Hi, I'm Val Hart in San Antonio, Texas, founder of Val Hart and Friends at valhart.com. Welcome to the Real Dr. Doolittle Show, the show for animals and the people who love them. I've been called a real-life Dr. Doolittle many times in my career as an expert animal communicator, behaviorist, pet psychic, and master healer. My mission and passion is to improve the lives of animals the world over by helping humans learn how to speak their language, how to understand their viewpoints, and heal. After all, our love of animals helps us be better humans, and the more balanced and healthy we are, the more balanced and healthy they can be too. Be sure and look for my CDs on iTunes. And to find out more about my work and to receive your free Quick Start Animal Talk course, just go to my website at valhart.com. While you're there for a limited time, you can also apply for a complimentary Happy Animal Assessment session. And if you want to learn how to be your own Dr. Doolittle, check out the world's first complete Animal Communication Made Easy system available now on my website at valhart.com. Thank you and enjoy the show. Hi, this is Val Hart, the Real Dr. Doolittle, and today I'm talking with Lisa Shultz. Lisa is the co-creator of the Speaking Your Truth anthology series of inspirational stories by women for women, and she's the co-author of the book, How to Bring Your Book to Life This Year. Lisa loves to support the aspiring writer to bring their dream of being a published author to reality. Her most recent book is entitled Become an Athlete of the Mind. In the guidebook and journal, she shares how to create a 90-day program to train your mind using positive thoughts, affirmations, visualizations, and faith to attract what you most want in your life. One of Lisa's books, Sally's Journey, was a step outside her usual box of writing and coaching topics, and she wanted to share Sally's interesting life as well as her own in the 14 years that Sally was with her. Sally is a wonderful dog. I can't wait to find out more about this. But Lisa loves her furry companions, past and present, just like I know you do and I do. So writing the book From Sally's Eyes and Voice was a healing journey for Lisa, which is really interesting and I think wonderful, and it's part of her message for all of us. Lisa hopes that dog lovers will enjoy this glimpse into Sally and Lisa's world as they experience many changes in their lives together. Lisa, welcome to the show. I'm delighted to talk to you.
Oh, thank you for having me, Val.
Wonderful. So tell us about, you said that writing the book From Sally's Eyes and in her voice, which is really one of the special things about the book because it is written from Sally's viewpoint, was a healing journey for you. Why do you say that?
Well, I feel that dogs have such unconditional love at all times in their hearts, and they're able to keep loving despite events and circumstances that are not ideal, and humans tend to get just, quite distraught and stressed about certain events that are traumatic, say a divorce, which is what I went through that was very difficult for me. Mm-hmm. But my dog Sally just kept loving everyone through the whole process, and I thought, that's such a wonderful way to look at events in life, is just to keep the love in your heart. And I wanted to feel more of that sense of continuing to love under all circumstances like dogs do. And so I thought, I'm going to look at everything that transpired in the 14 years she was here from her eyes. Mm-hmm. And by shifting my focus to how she might view events, I felt much more at peace and a lot of different perspective on how events really are. And it took a lot of the pain away and enabled me to do a considerable amount of healing by just shifting my eyes to hers.
Wow. I love what you just said. When you connect in with your animal and you see things through their eyes, you felt more peace, you changed your perspective, it took the pain away, and it shifted you dramatically.
Yes.
Right.
It softened my heart. sometimes we go through a difficult thing like the loss of love in a divorce, and we can potentially sort of harden in our hearts.
Yes.
But by looking at it from my dog and just enjoying her in my life through the whole process, it kept my heart softer and more open and loving.
Wow. That is so brilliant. You know, and I'm an animal communicator. It's one of the things that I do. And that's the gift, I always think, when we hear in our animal's voice what they think, what their viewpoint is, you know, their perspective, their, what they see, which is so much bigger than typically what we get narrow-focused in on, you know. But what they see, everything changes. It's so amazing. It's a dynamic process of shifting, like you said, shifting your perspective. I love that you did that. Okay, I want to hear more. So what triggered your desire to share Sally's story? What made you decide to write her story?
Well, you know, I had been divorced well over 10 years by the time that I began writing the book.
Okay.
And I love animals and love dog stories, so I actually picked up 2 books that I thoroughly enjoyed. The Art of Racing in the Rain and A Dog's Purpose.
Right.
And both of those were also written from the dog's perspective, and I said, how intriguing. I had never really thought of writing in that manner, and it so inspired me, both of those books, that I said, you know, I would really like to step outside of my usual writing box and give that type of writing a try. And so that's what sort of triggered my thought. You know, I said, those were great books about dogs. My dog, Sally, had a remarkable life. I think I'll have some fun and see what it would be like to write about her life from her view.
Did you discover things that you didn't know once you embarked on that project? So things you didn't know about or understand about things, about Sally or about, you know, what she was working through?
Yes, I think it just helped me. I think as humans we tend to just get stuck in our own boxes and our own ways of seeing things. And we can get very narrow sometimes in our view, and we don't see the big picture. And by stepping out of myself and my own sort of preconceived notions about how everything actually happened and why it happened or anything like that, and actually completely stepped out of myself into, in this case, an animal and their view, I realized that I may not have actually had it all right, or I over-dramatized it, or perhaps I just didn't really have a clear perception of it all, and I was just able to really move beyond myself to see it from another plane, which, as I mentioned earlier, just was tremendously healing. I had no idea when I embarked upon writing the book how healing it would be for me to step out of myself and look at those 14 years from her perspective.
Wow. Lisa, give us an example. Tell us a story.
Well, there's a very difficult chapter that I wrote about in the book that involved her getting hit repetitively by my, at that time, husband. And it was very traumatic for all of us.
Wow. So your husband was abusing her? Was hitting her?
He was. And it was the first glimpse that I had ever seen of that type of behavior from him. So I was completely unprepared, shocked, didn't know what to do, and it was directed at Sally. And reliving that to write about it was very difficult. And I didn't know if I could do it, but I said, you know, that's a big part of the story. So I sat down, but I realized that if I took myself again out of my own body and put myself into her body, I was able to get through that story a very, difficult moment of her being physically abused, and see it differently. Not that it wasn't, a very bad event that I feel very, was very unfortunate that it happened, but I was able to look at it again from the eyes of a dog, which are very much always unconditionally loving, and she was able to heal from that event much more quickly than I was.
Yeah.
And she let go of that incident much more quickly than I was able to do. And as a matter of fact, me just writing about that event was really, I think, the point where I could actually let it go over a decade after my divorce, and probably about 2 decades after it actually happened. And that's a long time for me to take to actually release the pain and actually have healing around that incident.
Yeah.
But it was remarkable that something that I thought would be difficult to do was actually the catalyst for forgiveness, healing, and acceptance of what it was and letting it go.
Wow. That took courage, Lisa. It took a lot of courage to do that.
It did.
Yeah.
But it was worth it.
Yeah, I was going to say you walked into something that most all of us, I can hear our listeners going, her dog's being abused. It almost re-traumatized everybody just to hear that story, but then to hear how you went into it, you shifted your perspective and experienced it through the eyes and through Sally's viewpoint, which is something I teach my students to do. And what you discovered is that Sally, she healed quickly. She moved on. She moved and stayed in her unconditional loving, the bigness of her heart. And then us humans are still left in trauma, and many people will carry that forever, they just keep adding to their trauma. It's like they haven't discovered the secret to healing, which Sally demonstrated so beautifully, and you've brought to life in her story. I just want to really tell you how proud I am of you for going through that and having the courage to even try, because I know it had to have been really scary to even consider doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Oof. Wow. And you found the gift on the other side, or in the middle of it, maybe.
Yes, I did.
I love that. Woo! Wow. So there was a chapter in here I wanted to ask you about. Let me find it. I've got the wonderful book right in front of me. It's called The Kidnapping. What's the kidnapping?
I pieced it all together from a variety of events, and of course it's based on a true story, so I had to use my imagination of what actually happened when she wasn't with us. But it was a very scary time for us when Sally disappeared one night from our yard.
Wow. And
we had company over, and so she was just out and about in our fenced-in yard. And when we were wishing our friends goodbye and closing out the evening, she wasn't there.
Oh my!
And I was in quite a bit of distress. It was evening. We spent hours into the night searching for her, to no avail, and finally went to bed for a few fitful hours of tossing and turning before getting up at the crack of dawn and searching for her again. And eventually I found her in the late morning without her collar on, near a busy street. And, of course, I was elated and scooped her up, even though she was a large dog, and carried her to my car and hugged her and, was so thankful to find her back. But later on, we never figured out what had happened, but it was very puzzling that she had no collar on, which, of course, had her identification and phone number and so forth. But it was maybe months after that I was gardening in my yard when some boys came up to pet her, which she often greeted passersby. The fence was low enough she could put her front paws on it and kind of commune with the neighbors walking by, and they could pet her head through the top of the fence. And these boys were chatting while I was sort of gardening nearby and saying how fun it was to spend, part of the night with her. And I just, I stiffened up while I was gardening and just didn't do anything because I wanted to see how much more was revealed, and just sort of pieced together from sort of innocent talk, like they were just having a chat with a long lost friend, that they had spent time with her one night, and they were sort of derelict looking boys, and so I just was a little bit frightened by the whole thing, but didn't say anything because I was just decided that I was going to be grateful that she was with me again and not go up and either interrogate them or reprimand them or ask them a bunch of questions. So I just let them have their talk, and then they moved on. And from the conversation that I overheard where the boys were chatting with Sally, I just sort of put together a story of her kidnapping based on what I heard. Wow.
Interesting. Well, I'm so glad that she made it home. You found her, and that it sounds like she was no worse for wear and had an adventure, apparently.
Yes.
And somehow, I'm sure, especially as you described the boys, she touched their lives as well. So somehow she connected with them, and they remembered. It was important to them for whatever reason. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Woo. Wow. So what did you discover in the process of writing about your ex-husband when you looked at him from Sally's eyes? I just was able to go deeper into forgiveness, because I think that for humans that can be very difficult, and for dogs and furry friends, sometimes they were able to do that much more quickly. And I guess I was able to see through her eyes that, yes, he did snap and did some things that were, not very admirable or appropriate or good, but she, recovered quickly, and I think knew that, perhaps his intentions weren't, well, I don't know that he intended to hurt her. He just lost control of himself. And she was able to just, shake that off after a while and move forward and continue to live life fully, and enjoy life again. And whereas I held on to a lot of those feelings and was not able to heal and forgive as quickly. So I guess that as far as my view of my ex-husband and so forth, I think that I had many, many years of reading books and therapy and all sorts of endeavors to heal my heart from all that happened through that time in the divorce. And to a certain degree, perhaps, again, shifting myself out of my own body and my own head and my own heart and looking at it in a completely different way was perhaps as effective or more effective than all of those years of struggling with therapy and all of that sort of thing. And so I look at my ex-husband in a softer way now, even though, I'm not happy with some of the things that happened, but I look at him perhaps a little bit, I would like to say, more forgiving and so forth, as Sally would look at him than I used to in my Lisa body. Yeah. I was just reminded there's a phrase and a concept going around for Christians. It's the "what would Jesus do" idea, right? For you, maybe it's what would Sally do? Or how would Sally feel? What would Sally say about this? It's so interesting. I often say that our animals are angels in disguise,
Yeah.
They are connected to, in many ways, the divine, the higher consciousness, the transcendent states. They many times are connected to that, more so than we are, maybe more of the time than we are. So if we reconnect and think, what would our animal do? It opens up a whole new area, a whole new a dynamic, new information that can come through. I love that. What would Sally do?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thanks. And congratulations on finding a way to heal what was obviously incredibly painful and traumatic for you on many levels. So, yeah. So tell me about your daughters. So what did your daughters think about Sally's story and you're writing her book, her story? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you never know how your daughters are going to view what you write. So I was a little bit, unsure about their reaction to the book.
Yeah, how old are they?
They're currently 18 and 19, and they're talked about quite a bit in the book because Sally witnessed their coming into the world and their baby stages and toddler stages and growing up stages. Mm-hmm. And so, but, those were times where they, maybe they didn't have full memory of all of the events and so forth, so they might be reading things that they didn't clearly remember. And so I was intrigued by and curious about what they might think about the book. And my oldest daughter read it one day and said, "Wow, Mom," she goes, "I liked it." She goes, "You really wrote it well, and it was like reliving my past in a, and she mentioned too, just sort of a different perspective, a softer perspective, and she really was glad that it was in a written form, that it was like documenting her childhood in a way, but it could have been written, with a lot of anger and different things, but because I had shifted into Sally, it was a nice way for her to reconnect with some of her childhood as well, and think of it in a more softer and more positive way. And she really enjoyed it. And my other daughter, expressed similar sentiment as well, that she liked the story, and it was nice to see her childhood written in that way.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Oh, well done. So Sally's no longer with you at this point.
No, she moved on, and she's been reunited with those who went before her. I spoke about a beloved cat, Lucy Kitty. Yes, Lucy Kitty passed on before her, and I wrote in the end of the book about how they rejoined one another, as well as Sally's beloved and our beloved mailman for many years, who also passed on before her. And I like to envision them all together, enjoying life in another world. So I had placed a little bit of that visualization and imagery into the end of the book, that, it is, when you read a dog book that that the dog passes. A lot of people have told me, I don't want to read it because I know that the dog dies in the end, and it would be so sad. And so I tried to put an imagery that was pleasant for something that is sad. And I hope that I conveyed that she's in a place now where she can play without arthritis and some of the old age things that she had, and that she's enjoying her time with Howard the mailman and Lucy Kitty.
Yeah. And I'll just make a comment. When I've worked with animals who have passed on and those who are in the process of dying, are making their transition, they themselves are largely peaceful. They're content. They feel they've lived a good life. They welcome to them what is stepping through, into a spiritual dimension. It's just as lifting off their body and moving on. And there is sadness at leaving their loved ones behind, but there's also joy and there's peace. and there's contentment and really a great deal of love. So it's ending a life is can be, it should be, in my opinion, a wonderful experience, not just a grieving, heavy, sad experience, but it can also be a loving and a kind and it's a new beginning in some ways. You close one door and you open the other one. You open a new door. So I'm really glad that you approached it in that way. It makes perfect sense to me. And I know you have more animals in your life, and I hope that you always have animals in your life. I love what you have on the back of the book. You say that your current dog, Roxie, sleeps in the bed next to your desk, and your kitty, Rosie, one of the kittens in Sally's journey, interrupts you frequently by jumping in your lap and purring for attention.
Rosie's even interrupted me during this interview and asked for attention, and she's now perched right next to me. And Roxie's not even on the floor. She's on my lap right now during the interview. So they're both right next to me during the interview, and I adore both cats and dogs, and I can't imagine my life without them, and or in the future not having their wonderful furry companionship and love.
Yeah, I love it. So would you like to leave us with another story, maybe one other bit from Sally or something that you learned or you would like us to know?
Well, I guess I just really encourage people to keep their hearts open. Mm-hmm. And when Sally passed, I felt, I didn't know if I could go through losing a dog or another animal again, because it's so hard when they become so close to you and such wonderful companions through many years of your life. And I thought to myself, I don't think that I can do it again. It's just too hard and too painful. And I allowed a little time to pass, and I realized, I said, that would be just silly. I said, I have so much love in my heart to give. It would be almost selfish for me to keep that bottled up inside my heart. Mm-hmm. And so I thought to myself, there's also a dog out there that would love to receive my love and give theirs to me. And so I did open myself again, and I put my heart out in vulnerability, as we know that our dogs don't often, live as long as we would love in the human lifespan. And so I said to myself, I'm going to give my love again, and I'm going to allow myself to receive the love of another dog. So I did go out, and I did get another dog who has been wonderful, Roxie, and it keeps the love flowing. It keeps my love flowing out, which I think is good for the world. And she loves receiving my love, and she loves giving the love. So that's really, I guess, what I'd love to leave the interview with, is just to continue to let the love flow, both in giving and receiving. And our furry companions, whether it's a cat or a dog, are a wonderful way to keep the love flowing in both directions.
Yes. Yeah. I love the way you said that. It's a wonderful way to keep the love flowing. It's almost the pay it forward. Sally shared so much of her love with you. It would break her heart to think that you ended that just because she passed.
Yeah.
She taught you so many things, and now it's like, I just think that Sally would be really heartbroken if you didn't take that forward and give another animal a chance to live a good life and to be loved and to share their love and their wisdom with you too.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so congratulations on taking that step also. And it is appropriate to take a bit of time to heal. You don't really want to just, get another animal just to fill the hole, that the one that left, to fill the hole that they left.
Yeah.
yeah, you need to take a bit of time to process that and heal. But then absolutely pay it forward. Pay Sally's lessons and her gifts forward to the next one. And I think, did you get your dog from a shelter, or how did you find your new dog? How did you find Roxie?
Well, Roxie was a bit of a project with my daughters searching. I let them really participate in the search for what kind of dog they wanted. Okay. And they did a lot of internet research and ended up deciding upon a particular breed, and really I let them do the search. Wow. Sally, I got at the Humane Society, which I highly recommend as well. So, but I really let the girls do the research and the searching for our new dog, which they thoroughly enjoyed, and helped them heal as well and get excited about the next chapter.
Perfect. Well done. Well done. Okay. Well, Lisa, I've so enjoyed talking with you about this, and I know one of the things you teach is that people should be writing and sharing their stories. There's a lot of healing power in sharing our stories, right?
Yes.
And I know that a lot of your work is all about that, about helping people share their stories. I know that all of us who have animals in our life, we have stories. We have a lot of stories, and sometimes a way to heal from a painful chapter in our life is to actually tell the story, as well as helping us inspire others, too, through our journey in life. So I know you have this wonderful book, Sally's Journey. That's the one we've been talking about. So how they can find that on Amazon or Kindle?
Yes, it's on Amazon, Kindle, and Nook.
Excellent. Great. So everybody, Sally's Journey is the book that we're discussing today, and what a wonderful, wonderful story. Thank you so much. So we've been speaking with Lisa Shultz of lisaschultz.com, and we probably should spell that, huh? So Lisa, S-H-U-L-T-Z. There's no C in Lisa's last name, so it's Lisa, S-H-U-L-T-Z.com. So www.lisaschultz.com, and you have all your great information there. And certainly go look for Sally's Journey, the wonderful, wonderful book. Thank you, Lisa, for your time today, for sharing your heart with us, and for your love of animals.
Thank you for having me, Val. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm delighted. Okay, keep up the good work. Go write some more wonderful stories, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the show. For more information or to listen to other podcasts, go to valhart.com/blog. And if you're someone who values a non-invasive, holistic solution to resolving problems with your dogs, cats, and horses, and you want better behaved, healthier, and happier animals, just go to my website at valhart.com to apply for a complimentary Happy Animal Assessment session. And be sure and remember to look for my CDs on iTunes. Learning how to talk with animals is fun and will change your life. So while you're there at my site, get my free Quick Start Animal Talk course and check out the world's first complete Animal Communication Made Easy system. May the love of animals bless you, teach you, inspire you, heal you, and reconnect you to the circle of life.